Now that we've covered some dietary approaches to help with obesity management, I want to talk a little bit about physical activity as well. Although when it comes to weight loss or fat loss, when an individual has obesity, dietary change is probably going to be way more effective. Getting into a caloric deficit is far more effective through dietary changing than physical activity. But of course, physical activity is one of the most important things we can do for our health and our overall well-being. And that two-pronged approach of diet and physical activity, that is the ultimate as far as behavior-based changes with respect to obesity. Okay, the Canadian Medical Association's recommendations as far as physical activity and obesity management are for about 30 to 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity most days of the week. Okay, they also recommend some resistance training to help maintain muscle mass and to improve mobility, especially in those where mobility might be compromised. And they also say that, of course, and we know this in kin, that greater amounts of physical activity can also have greater effects for things like cardiorespiratory health and overall health as well. And not just physical health, but also they speak to the fact that physical activity can also help improve mental well-being, and it can help to treat or manage certain conditions, mental-related conditions that increase risk of obesity, such as mood-related disorders like depression. So I actually want to contrast those last recommendations with the recommendations from the American College of Sports Medicine. And what they recommend is that if people are trying to achieve clinically significant weight loss, they get a little bit more specific and recommend more than 250 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity per week. But really, when we say clinically significant, we're talking about like maybe a 5% drop in weight, and not even sometimes. Okay, and they recommend even more for preventing weight gain or weight maintenance. So it really depends on the person. I personally wouldn't focus just on exercise with an individual with obesity. Exercise is important for improving various health markers, for improving mental well-being, for maintaining muscle mass, for improving quality of life, etc., etc. But when it comes to reducing fat mass, getting that caloric deficit through a hypocaloric diet, that's typically far more effective. Okay? Other things to consider when working with populations with obesity and physical activity recommendations. As we keep talking about, individualization is important. Not everyone is going to want to, do Olympic lifting, although some people might like it. And we don't want to think that someone with obesity is not going to like Olympic lifting or using the treadmill or whatever. What we don't want to do is take our own biases, our own preferences, and tell them, you need to do this. Because there's lots of different forms of physical activity. There's lots of choices. Give people choices. Let them select what they actually want to do. There's going to be different levels of abilities when it comes to anyone, and especially with individuals with obesity. I have a good friend that runs something called the All Bodies Fitness Community out of Vancouver, and they have all sorts of modifications when they're running programs. They even have a group that is more, they do more like chair-based activities. They have a lot of restricted mobility, and Kate, the program director for that, she modifies all the programs so everyone, no matter what their abilities are, can get some of the benefits of physical activity and some of the benefits of the social components of her program as well. We also need to be careful with the kinds of activities we're recommending because of some, again, functional limitations that might show up with obesity, the most common of which is osteoarthritis or knee-related, joint-related knee pain. That can make it very difficult for a person to even stand for long periods of time, depending on that person. So we need to be careful. Like, it drives me crazy when I see, let's say a personal trainer working with someone with obesity and trying to get them to run on a treadmill, when that person might not be able to do that. Maybe they are, I'm not saying they're not, but we want to work with that person to find out what's actually reasonable and healthy for them, okay? And a social component is often really effective at getting people to keep coming back to a program to promote adherence. As I mentioned, that All Bodies Fitness community out of Vancouver, one of their greatest successes is the social connections they've built there. That said, I wrote or not, because some people don't like being social. Some people don't like groups. They want to do it all on their own. They want to just go for hikes by themselves. Cool. We cannot make it one size fits all. One size fits all fits no one. Another recommendation is to start where the person is at. You know, we don't want them to injure themselves. We don't want them to go too far. We don't also want them to hate it, right? So we want to help people no matter where they are and lead them forward from them with their own abilities. Okay, focus on enjoyment, focus on building a healthy habit, even if the message is just show up. If that's like all you expect, just show up. Showing up is actually getting there. Even if there's not improvements on a particular day, okay, they got there. That is huge for someone that wasn't even going to the gym or wasn't even going to the trails. Okay, behavior strategies, which we're going to talk about. Sometimes it's a time management thing. Sometimes people aren't exercising because they don't have the time to do it. Okay, and setting goals or values based. So instead of talking about like I want to lose weight or I want to be able to hike a mountain, maybe it's about like I want to be there for my kids. I want to have the energy to run around with my kids or to lift up my grandchild. Oh my God, I'm going to cry. But like something like, you know, that's more about like what's meaningful to that person, what's important to that person, as opposed to just some arbitrary external goal as well. I always like to say, this is a quote from me and my health classes is, you know, find activities you enjoy doing and people you enjoy doing them with, right? That's what we're looking for. These smiles are what we're looking for, right? If we're going to be, you know, conscientious, compassionate, health practitioners, you know, we ideally don't want to compromise someone's mental well-being or social well-being for their physical well-being, right? Ideally, we want all of those things to work together. And we can work with our clients or our patients as well to reframe what success means and reframe that success isn't just how much weight you lose, but maybe it's that you can walk up your stairs. Maybe it's that you can stand at your counter washing the dishes for 20 minutes. You can't do this now, and now you can do it, right? And having those kind of mastery experiences, those like smaller goals, and then celebrating them, not just the like distal goal of potentially weight loss. This can be a lot more motivating for some people, and again can help, you know, that person feel good when maybe they haven't felt good in the past with respect to physical activity. Okay, so in the next unit, we're going to look a little bit outside of just kind of these basic recommendations, and we're going to start looking at more kind of behavior-based strategies for obesity management. See you then.